Hello, this is Ben Smith from ultrasoundoftheweek.com. In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how you can create an animated GIF using two different clips. Here's an example. So I had this patient who came in cardiac arrest and wanted to create an animated GIF showing the peristernal long axis view of the heart on the left side of the screen here, as well as their carotid artery on the right. These two clips sort of combined together I wanted to create so I could then post to Twitter. Typically if you want to post a GIF to Twitter, you're limited to just one GIF, but if you can combine them together, Twitter sees it as just one GIF, so you can display multiple, for instance, ultrasound clips at once. So let me show you how to do it. It's pretty simple. Open up Photoshop. This is Adobe Photoshop CC, the newest version. Make sure that the timeline is open. Now if you look at the bottom of the screen here, the timeline is open already by default for me. If you don't see it, go to Window and then Timeline. Right here there's a little movie icon. You're going to want to click that and then click Add Media. And here are my two clips. This is for this patient, the clip straight out of the machine. I'll click one of the clips and then hold the shift button down while I click the second one, and then hit open. And this brings both of my clips into the timeline here and over here on the layers panel on the right side. So if you look down here at the video group 1 on my timeline, my clips are lined up end to end. So if I hit play, let me just fast forward here a little bit. Let me show you what happens if you hit play. As I scrub through here, you'll see it goes to one clip, then it goes to the other clip, which is fine if I wanted to show these on the same GIF and have them be end to end like that. But what I want to do is show them side by side. So I need to get them on a different line here, a different timeline, so that they're showing simultaneously. And the best way to do that is go over here to the layers panel and click and drag on the bottom clip and just pull it down until you see a line between the two that sort of shows up. You see it sort of appear right there, and then release, and that pulls it out of video group 1. And go ahead and do the same thing with the second clip. So now video group 1 is empty, and I can just drag that to the trash. It's basically just a folder. So now I've got each of my clips on two different layers, and if you look down here on the timeline, they're now playing simultaneously. Now of course if I just play this right now, all I'm going to see is the peristernal long axis view of the heart. That's all I've got, that view in the front, basically because the PLX is in front. Now if I drag it in back, the problem still persists. I'm only seeing one of the two clips, but now I'm just seeing the carotid clip. So what I want to do is get them side by side. And the best way to do that, first thing you want to do is convert each of these to smart objects. And if you saw one of my previous tutorials, I talked about that, but you basically right click on the right side of the layer and select Convert to Smart Object, and the icon changes slightly and the color of that clip changes from blue to purple. Select the second one, do the same thing, Convert to Smart Object. So now they're both smart objects. Next thing you want to do is just isolate the actual ultrasound image and exclude everything else. So what I'm going to do here is, the best way to do that is with what's called a mask. If you're familiar with Photoshop, you'll be familiar with masks. It's a pretty straightforward technique. What I want to do is select just the ultrasound information. So I'll use this rectangle marquee tool on the tools panel. Select that, and you want to click and drag from one corner all the way down to the other corner, including just the ultrasound image, and then click on this box right here, the third box down in the layers panel. That creates a mask. Now if I select the item and drag it around, you'll see that now it's just isolated, just that one, just the ultrasound information is now selected, and the rest of the information is gone. I'm going to make this layer now invisible by unclicking the eye icon here, and now I can work on my second. So I'll select the second layer and I'll work on my second one the same way. Go to the rectangle, select marquee tool, and I'm going to click and drag from one corner all the way to the other corner. That's about right. And then again I select the mask tool. If I click and drag it around, you'll see that now all I have there is just the ultrasound information. So now I have each of my, I just unclick the visibility icon there. So now I have both my ultrasound clips, isolated just the ultrasound information. They're on two different layers and they should play simultaneously. So if I hit play or hold the space bar, just hit the space bar, they should play simultaneously. So we're starting to get there. Now if I try to move these, position them next to each other, there's just not enough room here. My canvas is not big enough. It's just it's too small. So what I got to do is expand the size of the clip. The entire file needs to be bigger. So the way you do that is go to Image, Canvas Size, and here this is the actual canvas size right now. I'm going to just change this. You can select whichever one of these dots you want. I'm going to select the left dot, so all the new part of the canvas will be on the right side of the screen. And then I'll change the width to, we'll just change it to something really big like 1500 and leave the height the same. See, now I've got all this extra space over here. Now I can click on my carotid artery layer, and pull it over. And if I want to nudge it into place, I can use the left and right arrow keys to get them right next to each other, and the up and down key to get them right how I want them. And as you see, I have this checkerboard behind these two clips. This is going to show up as potentially white space when you export the clip as a GIF. So the best way to resolve that problem is create a new layer and fill it with all black. So there's a button down here right next to the trash can called Create a New Layer on the Layers panel. If you click that, and you want to click and drag that to the very back, make sure it's behind your other two layers. And now I want to fill this with just entirely black. So if you go up here to Edit, and then Fill, and you want to select black here at the top. Make sure black is selected, and then click OK, and it'll fill that with black. And now, of course, if I exported like this, my GIF would be way too wide with a bunch of extra black space. So now I'm just gonna crop off the extra space using the crop tool, which is the fourth tool on the tools panel. You just grab the handlebar and pull it in, and I'm gonna pull this up just a little bit and pull this down a little bit, and then hit return. Now if I hit the space bar, both my clips are side by side and playing. Now one thing I wanted to point out though is if you look at the bottom of the layers panel here, when I created that black fill layer, it doesn't actually go for the whole clip. See, if you look over here, if I drag this over to here, I've got now white space around, so I need to just drag this over to make sure it lines up perfectly. And if it's not long enough, just drag it over to the end of the clip. Now, in this way, you can actually just isolate part of the clip that you want. So let's just say, like I don't like the way the carotid IJ looks right here. It's just getting a bunch of noise, and I think there's actually maybe some patient movement during that time, possibly some chest compressions. So I'm going to just say that I just want to end the clip right there. So what I can do is I can just drag this clip over, drag the next clip over. You need to make sure that they all end at the same time, and then drag the next layer over. So I've got my black about the same length of time as well. So if I just drag back to the beginning and hit play, I see that's about what I want. That's about right. It may still be a little bit long, but when I export it, I think I can make the size work. So at this point, you're ready to export your GIF. This is just like the previous tutorial on exporting GIFs. You can actually go to, if you wanted to, go to File, Export, and you can actually render a video that is these two clips together, and it'll create one video with the two of them in there, just like you're seeing on the screen here. But what I'm talking about doing now is exporting for Twitter or for online, and that's a pretty simple thing to do. Go to, once again, to File, Save for Web, and it brings up what I'm going to see here. Right now I'm in JPEG mode, as you see right here. As you see down here, this is for JPEG, so this will just export one still image. What I want to do is create a GIF. So first thing I'm going to do is change the size, just change it down to about 600 or so, something that's a reasonable size to export to for Twitter, and then select up here GIF out of the list. It's going to think for a second. What it's doing now is calculating the size of the GIF that you would export based off the default settings on the GIF panel. Alright, there we go. So if you look over here on the left side, right here, it shows you've selected GIF, and that's your size. Now in the previous tutorial I had mentioned that the exported GIF size maximum on Twitter was 2 megabytes, but it's actually up to 3 megabytes now. At some point they changed it. And so what I want to do is get this file size down to 3. I've already done the biggest change, which is change my width from, it was something like 1200 down to 600, and that really dramatically changed my file size. But I want to stay, I think, with about this size. I don't want to make it any smaller. I want to change the quality. So up here, just make sure you have 256 colors selected if you have color in your shot. Now, if you don't have color in your shot, you may be able to get away with 32 or even 16 sometimes. I usually have selective color reduction algorithm. Diffusion is my dither algorithm. Over here on the right side, I leave web snap at 0, and then lossy. Lossy is the thing I'm going to change now. I have it at 20%. I'm going to have to push it up a little bit to get that file size down. So let me just put it up to 30 here and see what happens to the file size. So right there, that put it below 3. So that's 2.84. And it looks pretty good. Let me go ahead and hit preview and see what it looks like in my browser. Just going to think for a second. Yeah, it looks pretty good. I think it's ready for export. Before we export on this one, I wanted to point out one thing. Is you notice that GIF just stopped playing when I viewed it in the browser. This is the original one, but the GIF that I just previewed stopped playing, and so I'm going to have to select on the looping options forever. You want that to be forever. And now I'm ready to export. Click Save, and export it to wherever you want. I'll just call this Twitter. Now if I wanted to go preview my GIF, you can right click on and click open with a browser, and it should play fine. And there's my exported GIF, ready for Twitter. That's it. Thank you.